So you had a double bottom down there around 578, then that pivot around 650 ended up breaking that level. It's interesting to have this consolidation right underneath 7. So it's kind of back to where it was before. And then previously it sort of popped and then rejected and then sold off again. Like that. No trades on this one for me. Just don't really trust it. This is a company that spends a lot of money. So that, I don't know. Not sure. Maybe that's why it's so heavy. They need to raise money, maybe. I don't know. Just something about it. Well, I saw that dip down there. Um, I'm not really interested in breaking the ice on my first trade on a dip. It's a little riskier. Um, so just, I think I'm just gonna say this one. I just missed the couple of setups that it offered, and that's fine. Just get the next one. The issue on this is that we had this move back here, and it wasn't that clean. So I'm already kind of like, nah, I don't know. This all feels like it's on the backside, and we're running into that issue at 725. So I just wasn't really sure about it. Now it ended up making a really nice move from 4 to 650 up to 725. I didn't expect that on the backside with this kind of patent headline, but sometimes that happens. I was watching in this area, wondering if maybe I should, but take a trade, but it just didn't quite feel like I could manage my risk the way I wanted to, and so no trades. It's fine. NUWE, I would feel the same way. This is backside after a huge sell off. There's no way I'm interested in it. I want to be trading day one of this kind of move. Um, and you never know how high something might go, but I'd like to be trading day one. day one, it's not selling off. Day one is the stock moving higher. So, if it's up 50% on day one and it doesn't have a day in the last few weeks that made that kind of move, then it's day one of a move. This one had a move, a week ago. So today, in, you know, in sort of contrast, is a much smaller day. Well, I guess with AMI, and this is on NUWE, on AMIX, it's a similar size day, but so could that, if it broke over the high and keeps going, then I guess, this is back to like sort of fresh momentum. But I was skeptical about whether or not it could do that. I don't think that the broader markets really, have are kind of tied in right now with small caps being just a little slower. I mean, I don't know. It's always hard to know for sure, but Well, bigger spreads doesn't make a stock easy, because if you get in on the ask, you also kind of need to get out on the ask. If you get in on the ask and you sell in the bid, you're instantly down $1 a share. So, and you can't really get filled on the bid typically, especially if it's lighter volume. So, sure, if you get filled on the bid and then sell on the ask, but that's just not how it typically works. So we're coming up towards the top of the hour. I'm not sure if that 30-day um, trial is still available. I think that was something we were just doing in July. If you go to your member renewal page and scroll down, you'll see, let's see what we have here. So seems like it's going to be a no trade day for me unless we get some really big surprise, which I'm not expecting. So that's all right. You know, if I had jumped on AMIX in a couple spots, I might have been able to get some profit, but you never know. I might have gotten caught in one of those false breakouts. Once you break the ice, it's easier to keep trading, and it wasn't really all that clean. So, in any case, I'll just sit tight here, see if there's any news at 9:15, and then if not, we'll wrap it up, and John will come on here in around 9:30. Yeah, KWM does look like the backside of the move. Backside means the stock has already made a big move recently and is lower than that previous level. So this went up to six previously and has come back down. Backside on FFAI as well. So the one trade a day is for when you're getting ready to trade with real money and the first couple weeks of real money. When you're still in the simulator and you're still trying to get a lot of practice, that's a time when it's okay to trade more actively. All right, 9:15. So SLXN did put out a headline there at 9:15, but my guess is that yeah, I mean, I don't know. Has this one popped up recently? Just a little bit, not much volume back there. Yeah, typical. Oh my gosh, down 15%. All right, well, today's a miss. Be back at it first thing tomorrow morning. John will come on here at about 9:30, give you guys some more market commentary. No trades for me. It's just not happening today. Look, hey, some days are like that. Yesterday we had some great moves. Solid green day. Today, crickets. Nothing. What are we gonna do? There's no catalyst. There haven't been any good catalysts. So the best thing you could do is just have the discipline to sit on your hands. But you start jumping and things like this, next thing you know, you lose 10% there, 10% there, and you're getting smoked. You don't want that. So this is a day where I had to fight the urge a little bit. Well, not really. I had to fight the feeling of disappointment that I missed AMIX and not give in to that disappointment by overtrading the backside of the move here, after I'd clearly missed the first leg higher. And that's all we got was one leg higher, basically. And then that was it. So, I mean, it's not the day I wanted, but the alternative is a red day. On a day like today, if I was to trade, I'd probably be red. So break even, holding discipline, you know, maybe small green if I traded stuff, maybe small red, but none of the stuff really ended up I didn't feel confident on it. So that's okay. Some days are like that, and that's the way today is. So it's only the second trading day of August. I'm still needing to build my cushion a little bit on the month, and I need a bit more predictability. And that is a challenge in the current market because we don't have super clear catalysts like, oh, that one works every time. We don't really have that right now. We have some catalysts that work, but it's not totally clear when something hits like, okay, this is a biotech stock, SLXN. I'm like, okay, well, some biotechs have worked. Obviously, AMIX worked. So I'm kind of like, is this going to work? I don't know. I'm not sure. So kind of look at the chart, kind of waiting. Could this have squeezed up to 350 or 4? Well, maybe, but hard to tell. In other markets, it's much more clear we've got like a catalyst that's working well. That every time that catalyst comes out, we get a nice move. That just hasn't been the case here. So, anyways, that's just sometimes how it goes. So that's it for me. I'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning. Maybe you guys will get some nice momentum after the opening bell. Who knows? But pre-market is generally easier for me anyways because we don't have halts. So we'll see how things look later in the day, and then we'll be back at it tomorrow at 7 a.m. All right, I'll see you guys then.
Alrighty, good morning. How's everyone doing? QNME was LSH. They changed their symbol. I'm not too sure why it went from 35 to $2, but it's kind of on the side watch. It's gonna halt fairly quickly though, both up and down. AMIX and NUWE, I think, were probably the only two small caps that you probably could have traded today. Move did also move, but kind of not within our risk tolerance. It had a nice curl pattern here. Basically, the theme of the day is don't buy anything off the scanner. Don't buy anything off the scanner and let it fail. Right? So you can kind of see what AMIX did originally. What did it do? It failed. Actually, it failed really hard. That's what it looked like originally. So when it's not hot, you just sit back, let it pop, let the short sellers take whatever they want to take, and then you see what's going to happen. What's going to happen? Well, what was happening? What does that look like? Where was the high volume pivot at that time? 411. Fast forward, right? MACD was green the entire time. MACD was green, moving averages were green. That's a trade that I think everybody could have taken. Now, let's say you missed that trade. Well, there was another one down here, almost a double bottom. Back to the high of 725. 725 was a level that I think Ross called out as a prior double top, and he's right, it was. But, it was holding. At least down here around VWAP. Again, MACD was green, moving averages were green, it was holding the support level, and you could have, in theory, gotten one more trade there. Now, it did reject 725 one more time, and it just couldn't recover, maybe because of NUWE going up. And that one was a little bit tougher in my view, because I'd like to drop quite a bit more. We have a high volume red candle right at 239. This already went up a couple days ago and rejected. So, it's on my side chart. I don't know what we should expect from it, but it is technically up 33% right now. AMIX is up 50%. So we're not having a lot of stocks up a lot, but they're trying. It's not a hot day, no doubt about that. But they're trying. Now, if you want to take the scanner alert, well, here's what you're risking. Biotech news can be either very good or very bad. Biotech news is like, producing some data about how the trial went. The trial probably didn't do very well based on the price that it went down. So nobody really should have taken 238 and got slammed down, because if you waited for a curl, it wouldn't have happened. So be careful jumping on. My point is, be careful jumping on the scanner when it's slow. That's what I'm trying to get across. By the way, short sellers also use a scanner, very similar. They're looking for a negative bad day and random things popping up, 15, 10%, and hitting them, and maybe they go negative. Now, on a hot day, something going up 15% goes to 50%, goes 100 to 200, and so you just got to be careful. There's a descending level here on DXST. 295 is technically holding. I think the universe of stocks that I'm going to be watching at the market open are going to be, let's see, probably all these that you see right now. I have DFNS up there only because it's active, and I want to know if it's going up. Now, for those of you who were with me around 3 o'clock yesterday, we talked about Palantir. Palantir had earnings last night. The only thing that I said were, here are the two levels, 140, 200 EMA, and 118.44 about support. We said If their earnings are negative, don't buy it because the stock is below. It was at the time below the 200 EMA. So if a large cap is below the 200 EMA and their earnings are negative, you never really buy. You have to wait a couple days. But the earnings were positive. The stock is now at or above the 200 EMA, but there's really no place to buy right here. I think you just kind of have to be happy with if you took that and then take it. But you would want that to hold 140.81 if you like Palantir. I don't personally take earnings trades, but I did that because we have earnings this week. Cool, Jason. So back to the small cap land here. I think at the market open will be, well, we probably need to wait to see what's going to fail. Like, for example, TNMG, I don't know, maybe this could be really strong today. For a while, we had penny stocks, and I was thinking it's going to be a penny stock day, and then TNMG didn't do anything after that kind of capitulation parabolic move. I guess somebody got stuck there. And then after that, they reshort and maybe they made their money back. But this one's going to have to recover 78, get back to $1. What do we say about penny stocks that reject $1? You just avoid them. If they hold $1, then maybe we have a shot. So we'll let the market open, give it, a minute or so, and we'll see how it looks. And yeah, TNMG would also be halting pretty quickly as well. So, it may perform well, but if it keeps halting, it's gonna be annoying. Well, I talked about SpaceX earnings, I think, for 2 days now. It was not me saying that I think it's going to go up or down. It was just a thought exercise. So if you think Elon Musk would go public with SpaceX and then have negative earnings, then the stock should go down. If you think he went public and the earnings were set up to be positive, then in theory the stock should go up. Now I say that because of the Korean IPO, right? They went public and the earnings were negative right after. So they already set up people to fail. They didn't really care. They got all the money, give me your money, and we're going to give you bad earnings. Not really great ethics for management there. Considering they're in Korea, they should have better ethics than that. But so we'll see. That's just my thought exercise for SpaceX. SpaceX is at support level. It needs to hold, 110.55. It was down a little bit before. And I don't know what you would aim for, but it needs to hold 110. So if it doesn't hold 110, just stay out of it. I don't really care about the lockup because people have already anticipated the lockup. So it went down in anticipation of the lockup, and it will kind of maybe continue going down with each lockup. But really the question is, what does it do for earnings? And so that's my thought there. I guess the big picture is I don't really feel too excited for the market open, but maybe we'll be proven wrong. And by the way, with the market open now, we do have a new all-time high for the SPY. The SPY has never been higher than it has been today, so that's very good news. $576 would need to become support for AMIX. No, we can look at Sophie later, maybe at the 1 p.m. session. NUWE needs the whole 215. Again, the problem is we're fighting kind of like a backside big picture chart here on NUWE, so it's not like, is it going to go to 10?